Good morning, guys. Nothing, excuse me, nothing gets under my skin more than when people lie about and insult my church, and when people lie about and insult my country. Yesterday, the left had a field day doing that all day. And I watched all day and night, listened and watched, and then today I'm hitting back. They punched us all day yesterday. Today, I'm hitting back. And, of course, the grifter, divider-in-chief, Joe Biden, who I've watched him his whole 40-something year career, and he just goes with wherever he thinks the Democratic Party is. So when the Democrats thought racism would win them elections, he said the most racist things, and he pushed the most racist bills. Now his party has been taken over by the young communists that hate America and hate the Catholic Church and hate everything about Christianity and the foundations of our country. So he's going right along saying everything they want to hear. Make no mistake. So a week ago, he, with an executive order, proclaimed Indigenous Peoples Day, which, they should have a day. We should honor them. But it's no coincidence he put it on the same day as Columbus Day, where we honor Christopher Columbus, the great Catholic who discovered America. And it was no coincidence that he had to bring up the same old insults that they always bring up. Oh, well, we can't, although we're thankful for the Italian Americans' contribution, because they always got to play identity politics. So they got to point out Italian Americans are good. But the atrocities these Catholic explorers did, we have to acknowledge were horrible. So the way Biden works, if you haven't noticed, he lies about something. And then he gradually does what he wants to do. So, for example, he lied and said he's not going to make any mandates. And then he comes out with a mandate. So the way he's going to do it, this is my prediction. So he made Indigenous Day on the same day as Columbus Day, pointed out the atrocities on Columbus Day. And then next year, he's going to say, we need to stop celebrating Columbus Day. This is a racist, horrible holiday, and we're getting rid of Columbus Day. And what we got to do in response is crush the Democrats the month later, because October is Columbus Day, and then November we got the midterm elections. That's what we got to crush them. So use that as your motivation. So let me first tell you this. When I want to know the truth about something, like, for example, the news, if I want to know what's going on the border, I'm going to find the people closest to the problem and see what they're saying. So I'm going to listen to the actual Border Patrol agents that are working on the border, the cops, the blue-collar cops on the border first. And with the internet, you can hear what these guys are saying. Then I'm going to listen to their superiors, these guys that have been supervising and running the show for years. Then I'm going to listen to the locals, the people that actually live there. And I'm going to listen to the politicians. And surprisingly, whether they're Democrat or Republican, whether they're the supervisor of the Border Patrol or they're Border Patrol agents themselves, they're all saying the same thing. In history, I do the same thing. I don't want to hear what some Marxist professor in Harvard has to say about what happened 500 years ago. I want to go to the source. So in Christopher Columbus's case, I'm going to go to his diary and the writings of people, his contemporaries that were there with him. And in Christopher Columbus's diary, he says this. He's writing to the monarchs. He says, these people are the best people I've ever met. They love their neighbors as themselves. They're always laughing and smiling. No better people have I found. He told the monarch also his reason for coming to America. One of his reasons, he said, with the profits we make from this conquest, send all profits, all my prophets, please send them to Jerusalem. Because he believed that in order for Christ to return, we had to retake Jerusalem from the Muslims. The Muslims had taken Jerusalem from us. So his purpose to make money was to take back Jerusalem for the glory of God, so Christ could return again. And one of the lies was he subjugated these indigenous people, made them slaves. And the first thing recorded that he said to these indigenous people was, we did not come to subjugate you. We came to teach you the true religion, which is Catholicism. And then they said he made them slaves. Well, we have documents, authentic documents that he wrote to the monarch saying, please send me some miners. Please send me some miners to mine the gold. That he paid. He paid the miners. So he didn't use the Indians as slaves to mine the gold for us, like the myths that the left is pushing. He also told his men to not mistreat them. Do not mistreat the Indians, as they called them back then. I'm going to use their language. Do not mistreat the Indians. If they have something you want, trade. Give them a fair trade. Don't take what they have by force. Now, was there atrocities? Yes. You know, not everybody that calls himself a Christian acts like a Christian. But there was harsh punishment from Christopher Columbus. He wrote in his diary that he had to hang 3 of his men for mistreating the indigenous people. So Columbus didn't put up with mistreating these people. So why does the left do this? Because the Marxists that are running the Democrat Party, the Marxists that are running the media, they hate the foundation of America. They hate it. They want to change it. They want to change everything. You just seen last summer when Black Lives Matter, who openly calls themselves a Marxist organization, says they want to destroy capitalism, they want to destroy the nuclear family because they think these 2 things harm people. You've seen they attacked Saint Sarah, and they made Saint Sarah to be another. They, like Christopher Columbus, he abused the indigenous people. And even Bishop Barron, who no one would call a right-wing conservative, went and defended. He prayed the rosary in front of a statue when he heard Black Lives Matter and Antifa were going to destroy that statue. And they spent all summer destroying statues at Catholic churches. And they had their biggest target was Saint Sarah. When history tells us that he was a saint. He loved the indigenous people. He helped them. He was always arguing on their behalf. He was always serving them. But the left is twisting everything. And if you look at Marxist societies, look at Venezuela, Cuba, all these Marxists, the first thing they do is start pulling down statues of the past. They don't want the young people to know their history. They don't want the people to know about the great men and women of the past. And we're not saying Christopher is Columbus. Nobody's perfect. You know, we're not saying he's perfect. Nobody's perfect. And you see this every day. They're just attacking all our values, and they take things out of context. They're even attacking and pulling down statues of Abraham Lincoln because in a debate, because he wanted to free the slaves, and he was saying they're made in God's image. There was, at that time, it was unheard of to think that black people were equal to white people. So his opponent accused him of saying they're equal. And he said, no, I'm not saying they're equal. Well, that in today's society is horrible and racist. But in the context of the 1800s, that was normal. He was actually progressive, saying, but even so, they should be free because they're made in the image of God. So, but they take everything out of context and they try and put it in the context of today. And you can't do that. And you can't do it on either, but they only do it on one side. You know, the they say, and they get really mad. Yesterday, I heard so many liberals get mad saying Christopher Columbus discovered America because there were people already here. Well, if we landed on another planet and there was life, we would say we discovered life on another planet. It's a play on words these people use. So, are they really indigenous? Were they born here? No. We know. History tells us they migrated from Asia. So there was no really indigenous people here in America anyway. And they all conquered each other. Before Christianity, valor, bravery, all great attributes was attributed. All good things you were attributed if you were a conqueror. If you were conquered, you were considered weak. And basically, that was your karma, So there were all these tribes. The ones that Christopher Columbus met, they were a good passive tribe. But there were some mean tribes. The stronger tribes conquered the weaker tribes. There was cannibalism. There was slavery. Indians had slaves. Don't try and make it where these guys were all saints and all the Christians were sinners. No, this was a time frame. This is how life was. In fact, what's ironic is Christianity created the cult of the victim. It was a victim. Jesus Christ, who willingly became a victim and died on a cross. And the martyrs we see dying, we lift them up and we honor them. So people today on the left that feel bad for these victims, they would never even think this way if it wasn't for Christianity to think about a victim. It was always, well, we conquered because we're stronger, we're better. That was the mindset of the whole world. Christianity changed that mindset. So, the left plays these games and they actually believe this. And my Protestant brothers and sisters, you need to team up with us Catholics because they're coming after you and us. But even though it was the Protestants who wrote the Constitution, it was the Protestants who wrote the Declaration of Independence and founded all our laws based on the Bible, it was Catholics that discovered America. And wanted the foundation of you Protestants' formation of the government was a Catholic teaching called subsidiarity. Basically, what we know as limited government. Because if you give the government too much power, they'll take away your rights. And you see this in all these Marxist countries. The first thing they do is they pull down the statues. The second thing they do is they take away your freedom of religion, your freedom of speech. The third thing they do is take away your right to bear arms. And it's no coincidence. This is what the left is trying to do. Tear down the statues, take away all our rights, our First and Second Amendment rights. So the way we defeat them is by knowing the truth. And if you want to know history, like I said, go to the source and vote. It is clear the Democrat Party today is run by the Marxist end of the party. They're not run by Joe Manchin. Joe Biden lied to everybody and made them seem that he was a moderate. The only moderate that I see in the Democrat Party is Joe Manchin. The woman from Arizona, Sinema, she seems to be a moderate as well, but she voted 100% with Joe Biden. The left is trying to make her to be like this right-wing nut. She actually voted 100% with Joe Biden and approved of all his appointments. So we'll watch her over the years if she's truly a moderate. But I've watched Joe Biden and Joe Manchin for decades, and Joe Manchin's a true moderate, what you would call, But Joe Biden, he's just a grifter. Whatever he can do to make money for him and his family, and the way he gets the money is by having power, and he sells his influence. So when it was beneficial to act like a moderate, he did. Now he's just doing whatever the left tells him to do. He's becoming the most Marxist president. This is the most extreme, progressive, liberal, Marxist, socialist, whatever president you want we've ever had. His policies are extreme. And like I said, they do them in steps. I'm against mandates. The Constitution wouldn't allow mandates. Boom. Next thing you know, mandate. Which is basically was just a press release. My company is not enforcing it because there's no law enforcing it. It was just basically a head fake. But I'll get more on that on Rumble. I can't say too much about it on this channel. Yeah, if you don't know, I got a Blue Collar Catholic Rumble channel, so if you want to go check that out, I say things that I can't say on here every day. But anyhow, the left has always been doing this. I remember before Obama ran for his first term, I seen him in an interview where he said he wouldn't mind Americans paying $9 a gallon for gas because then they would use less gas. He said, but, I know I can't just get it to where it's $9. We would do it incrementally so they wouldn't really notice. This is what he said. And I always wondered, why didn't McCain play that video 24/7? But I'm not his campaign manager. So he also said that he wanted Obama. I'm talking about Obama. We're going back in history a little bit. He also said he wanted socialized medicine, but Americans weren't ready for it. So he'd have to do it step by step. Biden's doing the same thing with his socialist policies, but he's got the pedal to the metal because he knows they're going to get crushed in the midterm. So he's trying to get this socialist agenda going and complete it before the midterms a year from next month. So stay informed, vote pro-freedom. And right now, the Republicans are the only ones talking about protecting our freedoms. So you got to vote Republican. The Republicans are the only ones talking about saving the lives of unborn children, protecting the lives of unborn children. The Republicans are the only ones talking about protecting the elderly from euthanasia. The Republicans are only ones talking about the Catholic teaching of subsidiarity. If you're Catholic, I don't see how you have any other choice than to vote Republican. And I'm not saying these people are perfect, but they're running on agendas and we can hold their feet to the fire and they know if they change, we'll vote them out. That's what we do. So God bless, stay Catholic, and remember, Christopher Columbus was a great Catholic discoverer who discovered America. And he wasn't perfect. No one in history was. But he's someone we should be proud of and someone we should have statues of and someone we should have parades for. God bless America.